You know that moment, you toss something in the recycling bin and you kind of wonder, where does it actually go? Is it some complex, magical process? Well, today we're going to follow that journey. We're going to demystify the whole world of recycling, from the moment something is dug out of the ground all the way back to a new product sitting on the shelf. So here's the plan for today. First up, we're going to dig into why recycling is so critical. I mean, we live on a finite world, right? Then we'll get down to basics. What even is recycling? We'll look at the most common stuff we can recycle, and then, oh yeah, we're tackling the big one, plastics. Finally, we'll see how it all comes together, how we can actually close the loop and turn old stuff into new. All right, so let's zoom out and start with the big picture. Because honestly, to really get why the solution is so cool, we first need to wrap our heads around the scale of the problem we're facing. And here it is, the fundamental truth. The stuff we use every single day, it's not endless. We live on a planet that has a limited supply of, well, everything. The more we make from scratch, the faster we're just burning through those reserves. It's a pretty simple equation, but one with some really, really serious consequences. And this chart, wow, it really puts into perspective what running out actually looks like. I mean, sure, we've got more than 100 years of coal left, but look at oil. We're talking about 55 years. And gold? Maybe 20 years. The clock is absolutely ticking. And these aren't just random numbers on a chart. These are the very building blocks of our modern world. Okay, so we're faced with these resources that are literally disappearing. What's our most powerful tool to fight back? Well, let's get right into the heart of it. It really is this simple. At its absolute core, recycling just means using the same materials again. It's about taking stuff we've already used and giving it a second chance, a whole new life. It's a huge shift in thinking, moving away from that old take, make, and throw away mindset to something circular. And this is what it looks like for most of us, right? In our own homes. But here's the key. That bin isn't a dead end for your trash. It's the starting line for a brand new journey. The whole goal is to stop seeing these items as garbage and start seeing them as what they are, a valuable resource just waiting to be transformed. And the benefits? Oh, they're huge. It's kind of like a triple win. First, obviously, we save those precious resources we were just talking about. Second, we save a ton of energy. It's just way, way more efficient to reuse materials than to make them from scratch. And third, it means less junk piling up in our landfills. It's a win-win-win. Okay, so what are we actually talking about here? What's the stuff we're saving? Let's dive in and take a closer look at the key materials we can literally bring back from the brink. All right, let's kick things off with metals. Now, think about it. Mining for brand new metals is a pretty intense process. You have to dig these enormous quarries, which can wreck habitats, and it uses a staggering amount of energy and water. Recycling, it just skips all that messy stuff. It's cleaner, it's often cheaper, and it's just way more sustainable. So, to put that into perspective, I want you to picture a massive ton of rock and soil, all of it dug up from a mine. After all that work, all that effort, you get just 5 grams of gold. That's it. Okay, now get this. This is where it gets crazy. Take that same weight, 1 ton, but this time it's old cell phones. From that pile of e-waste, you can get back 150 grams of gold. That is 30 times more efficient. It's wild. There's literally a gold mine sitting in our junk drawers. Glass is another one of these recycling superstars, and the process is super straightforward. You crush it, you melt it down, and you reshape it into something new. And even though the raw ingredients for glass are pretty common, recycling it still uses way less energy. And that means burning fewer fossil fuels. But you've probably seen this, right? When you go to recycle glass, they always ask you to separate it by color. The green bottle's here, the brown one's there. Have you ever stopped to wonder why that is? Why do they make us do that? Well, here's the super simple reason. It's really, really hard to take colored glass, like a green wine bottle, and turn it back into clear glass. The color, the pigment, it just contaminates the whole batch. So by separating it at the very beginning, we keep the material pure, which makes it way more valuable to use again. Okay, we've talked about the successes, but we can't have a conversation about recycling without talking about the big one, the biggest headache in the entire system. Plastics, or if we're being technical, polymers. And boy, do they present a unique set of challenges. So here's the heart of the problem. You know those little numbers inside the triangles on the bottom of plastic stuff? Well, even with those codes, trying to separate one type of plastic from another it's difficult, it's slow, and it's expensive. And that right there is the #1 reason why plastic recycling rates are still so depressingly low. And this table just lays it all out. It shows you exactly why this is so complicated. You've got PET for your water bottles, then you've got PVC for pipes, PP for bottle caps. I mean, to you and me, it all just looks like plastic. But chemically, they're totally different beasts. You can't just melt them down together. So trying to sort through that giant, jumbled mess, that's the huge logistical nightmare at the center of the whole plastic problem. So this leads to a really interesting thought experiment. Let's just brainstorm for a second. What if? What if we just decided that every PET plastic had to be, say, red, and all PP plastics had to be blue? What would be the good part and the bad part of a system like that? Well, the advantage is pretty obvious, right? Separating them would suddenly become incredibly easy. You could probably boost recycling rates almost overnight. But the downside is just as clear. Consumer choice would go right out the window. You wouldn't get to pick the color of your water bottle or your shampoo bottle or anything else. It's that classic trade-off, isn't it? Efficiency versus freedom. Okay, so for our final section, let's bring everything together. Let's actually see how we close the loop. How do we take our old stuff and really transform it into something new? And to do that, we're going to use one of the oldest and honestly one of the most successful recycling stories out there, paper. This diagram, it just shows the whole journey perfectly. It's a complete circle. It starts with your waste paper getting collected, and it ends with brand new paper rolling off the press. It's actually a pretty beautiful, self-contained system when you think about it. So let's break it down. Step 1, the paper gets collected. Then it's all thrown into this giant vat with water to wash off and remove all the ink. Anything solid like staples or paper clips gets filtered out. Then that whole mixture gets heated up and mixed into this kind of soupy pulp. And finally, that pulp gets squeezed, dried out, and pressed into brand new sheets of paper. And there you have it. So, you see, recycling isn't some kind of magic trick. It's a real process, a series of clear, tangible steps that can transform what we might just call trash into the valuable resources we need every day. It really makes you think, doesn't it? The next time you go to throw something away, maybe take a second look. What new journey is just sitting there in your bin, waiting to begin?